Hey guys, Level Cap here, and today we're going to hear a real war story from someone who's not just a battlefield player I know, but someone who was injured in the line of duty. This video is being sponsored by the Wounded Warrior Project, whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Their vision is to foster the most successful, well-adjusted generation of wounded service members in our nation's history. They empower warriors to live life on their own terms and mentor fellow warriors to embody the Wounded Warrior Project logo of one warrior carrying another. This organization believes our warriors have already paid their dues on the battlefield, and if you would like to learn more, I encourage you to visit the website by clicking the link in the video description. Now, the veteran I'll be playing Battlefield with today is known in the gaming world as Pool Shark, but some of you may know him as Eric. I've hung out with Eric at numerous gaming events, and I know he's a real beast in the video gaming world, but I actually haven't heard much about your deployment. Eric, thanks for joining us today. I know you have a story about your deployment. Would you mind sharing that story with us?
Yeah, no problem. First off, we were deployed to Afghanistan. We were in Kandahar region. We were on the way back from a patrol base that we had set up. So we had started walking back it was an entire company, so there was about 130 people. As we were walking back, we were in a valley, and it was really fertile. So it was a river valley. There was plenty of overgrown areas. There was pomegranate orchards, etc. As we were coming back, we were in a heavily mined area, landmines. They were mostly plastic, so Chinese, Pakistani, etc. So we had minesweepers that we would all walk in a single file line. We had a minesweeper that would always walk out in front of us. So as we were walking back from this area, we were being very thorough because we were new to the area, didn't know exactly how everything was going. So we come up to this tree line that's really overgrown. There's a canal on it. So we have our lead minesweeper. He's in the canal trying to find out if there's anything in there. So the lead team leader goes down into this canal and starts to cross it. As he's trying to get up to the other side of the steep embankment, he kneels down and kneels right onto a landmine. And this landmine is a really cheap landmine that's been waterlogged. So the only thing that goes off is just the landmine, and it breaks his knee. As of that, we help pull him out of the water. We pull him back, and I'm tasked, because I'm the second team leader in line, I'm tasked with finding an alternate route. So I take my minesweeper. We go off about 100 meters down the canal and start to find another crossing. So I send my minesweeper down there, and he starts figuring out the area, see if there's anything in there. He deems it's clear, so I get my team across. There's 4 of us. We go to the other side and set up just a perimeter, just so that we have all of our angles covered, just in case there's any contacts. As we get this all set up, I come back and I start making sure everybody can get across. So, okay. As I get back to the area, my assistant team leader, who is guarding the area, he's standing there trying to help a guy across. This guy steps on a landmine, and the jug of homemade explosives that's attached to it goes off as well, and it's about a 5-pound jug. This sends my assistant team leader and myself flying. We fly back probably 20 feet. I get knocked out for probably 5 to 10 seconds. So I wake up from this being knocked out for a few seconds and immediately make sure my team's okay and they're set up a perimeter. I had also torn my rotator cuff, which I didn't know at the time. I call everybody, make sure they're okay. They get into their positions, and I go back to my assistant teammate, my team leader. I perform first aid on him, and as I'm performing first aid on him, I'm calling all the information about what happened to my squad leader. He's relaying all the information to the medevac, which is essentially the helicopter that comes in and picks up all the other wounded individuals. We get him all patched up, the helicopter lands, and we take all of our wounded to the helicopter. They all go out, and then we all head back to the base. Back to the base, I get what's called a TBI test, a traumatic brain injury, which is essentially a concussion protocol that the NFL or similar high-impact sports will go through. I failed that, so that immediately put me into the TBI category, which is automatic consideration for a Purple Heart. So I'm supposed to be technically out of action for, I can't remember the exact amount of time, but I'm supposed to not do any combat, any patrols, or anything like that. So about 6 hours after this TBI test, our base gets attacked. And I'm not supposed to do anything, but I'm not going to just sit there while the base gets attacked. So I run to one of the towers that has a Mark 19 grenade launcher in it. I run up to the tower, and my squad leader is there as well, and we start returning fire against this attack. About 3 to 5 minutes into this attack, we see gunfire coming towards our tower. So I'm shooting out towards this gunfire, and then out of nowhere, an RPG gets shot and hits the bottom of my tower. This throws me off the gun, throws me into the corner, and almost knocks me completely out of the tower. This tower is made of metal, so the reverberation inside of the tower blew my right eardrum out. So I fall down the tower. I start stumbling down the stairs and call for replacements to come up to take my position. And I have to proceed to the medic tent to get another TBI test. And I failed this one as well. So even worse, I've had 2 TBI protocols failed in the about a 6-hour period, which is not healthy. After this happened, the next few days that everything was happening, I couldn't hear anything out of my right ear. And anytime I heard any type of explosion in the distance, I would start throwing up. This occurred for about 3 weeks, where I was laid up in bed. The combination of all those things caused me to get a Purple Heart, and that's what considered me to be a wounded warrior.
Wow, that is a crazy story, man. I know that you were contacted by Wounded Warrior Project once you got out, but I've got more questions, honestly, if you don't mind talking about it a bit more. So after you were thrown 20 feet, though, you had a concussion, you were knocked out.
Yep.
I can't imagine you get thrown 20 feet from an explosion without, like, serious injury. You said you tore your rotator cuff or something?
Yeah, I tore my rotator cuff. It wasn't really bad. There was no shrapnel, so I didn't really get any like external wounds, which was lucky for me.
Yeah.
But the guy who got hurt, my assistant team leader, he was right near the edge of the canal, so he caught the shrapnel with like the rocks and stuff that got launched straight towards him, and he tore his, what did he tear? What's that big ass artery in your leg?
Femoral?
Femoral. Yeah, it nicked his femoral artery.
Oh my God.
So like as soon as I got up, I ran to him and put a tourniquet on his leg and made sure that his femoral didn't separate.
Yeah.
And bandaged up his wounds and stuff, and he ended up surviving, and I'm still good friends with him.
Do you know, so if you say they're Chinese mines, like how did they end up there? Like, did the Chinese just sell them to whoever?
It just ended up being like, over the last 20, 30 years, they've been at war, so they've just been kind of picking stuff up as they go. So they have like Pakistani mines, Chinese mines, all just the cheap knockoff stuff that all those warring countries just sort of have.
So those mines could have been there for 20 years, is what you're saying?
Well, yeah, they had the stockpile of them, but I know that the people in the area, the Taliban, they would just go out at night and place them because we couldn't see that far.
Yeah.
Because our night vision would only go out so far, and that canal was pretty much on the edge of and plus the overgrown, you just couldn't see them.
What happened with the attack on your base, the one that you were wounded for the second time?
We called in Kiowa helicopters, and the Kiowas came in, and they were doing like just, I don't know, a tree line buzz across the area and just launching rockets at everybody.
And those helicopters, I'm not familiar with the Kiowa, but do they have like infrared and stuff so that they can fight at night? Okay.
Yeah, they've got infrared, night vision. I think they even have they've got some type of grid system as well, so they don't even have to be near the ground to just launch stuff.
That's an insane story, man.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that happened on that deployment. It was just craziness. The first 34 days of the deployment, we lost 34 people. Not dead, but wounded.
Oh my God. Wait, on the first how many days?
On the first 34 days, we lost 34 of our people.
Holy crap, man.
My 240 gunner, he lost his leg from the knee down. My assistant team leader obviously had to go home because he had that giant hole in his leg. We had another team leader lose his knee. Actually, no, he lost. Let's see. He lost his legs, both his legs, one near the hip and the other one from the knee down. And he lost his left arm below the elbow.
Was that to a mine?
That was to a landmine and like a 30-pound jug of homemade explosives. So it was like a daisy chain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went down after we got back and visited all my buddies who were down at in San Antonio at I think it was called, is it BAMC? Brooks Army Medical Center down in, yeah,
okay.
Brooks Army. That's down in San Antonio, and I visited all my friends down there. And it's sad when you go down there and like almost a whole wing is people that you deployed with.
So Eric and I ended up talking about this quite a bit more, but it's an incredible story. And the fact that there are organizations out there like Wounded Warrior Project whose whole mission is to help people like Eric or people who come back with even less or in worse situations. It's good to know because our government doesn't always provide everything that's necessary for our veterans and our wounded veterans. And having an independent organization like WWP doing something about it really does mean a lot. And if it's something that means a lot to you, again, I highly recommend going to their website and checking out what they do there. Once again, there's a link for that in the video description. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing out.